Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. In a Young and Restless preview for the week of October 47 to 11, the walls are closing in on Sharon. Read on for the details and watch the video below. Last week, Jack brought Diane up to speed about the troubles at Newman, with Lily and Victor trying to take over Abbott Chancellor, but Victoria standing up for Billy. Diane didn't seem to care, feeling Billy was his own worst enemy. She wanted to focus on Kyle's replacement at Jebo, and Jack felt Diane cared more about the company than their son and this family. Next week, the claws come out as Diane tells Jack, "I don't think you've ever fully committed to the idea that I've changed, that I'm not the same manipulative bitch I used to be." She throws down her napkin on the table. Jack protests. "Diane." She holds up her hand. "No, I am sick of it." Sharon returned home, still haunted by Cameron, but attempted to play cool and not let on what happened with Heather. Meanwhile, Daniel received the shocking news that Heather's body had been found, and he had to break it to their daughter, Lucy, that her mother was dead. Not only was she dead, the autopsy showed she was murdered. Coming up, trying to cover her tracks, Sharon stuffs the bloody towels from Heather's death into Daniel's liquor cabinet. Wait, is she framing Daniel for Heather's death? Meanwhile, Chance tells Daniel, "Well, something surprising came up. We tried to trace the location of Heather's phone." Finally, Lucy asks Chance, "What happens now?" Chance replies, "One more person to question. Is Sharon about to go down for Heather's murder, or could another twist set Sharon free?" Be sure to read our Young and Restless spoilers to discover who Chance is questioning and what questions Cole is asking. In the quaint town of Willow Creek, where the sun cast a warm glow over cobblestone streets and colorful flower boxes, an unsettling darkness was about to unfurl. For years, life here had been idyllic, marked by friendly faces and the sweet scent of blooming lilacs. But the tranquility was shattered when Heather Collins, the town's beloved librarian, was found dead under suspicious circumstances. Sharon Blake, a local artist known for her vibrant landscapes, had always felt a peculiar connection to Heather. They often shared tea, discussing art and literature. But on the day of Heather's murder, Sharon found herself engulfed in a web of chaos and suspicion. As the sun set on the day of the tragedy, Sharon felt an overwhelming urge to paint. With each brushstroke, she sought to capture her emotions, a mix of sorrow and anger. Her canvas became a stormy sea, reflecting the turmoil brewing in her heart. Little did she know, the very act of creation would ignite a sinister idea in her mind. Sharon had recently learned of Heather's secret. The librarian had been involved in a controversial project to restore the town's old library, a plan that would alter the landscape of Willow Creek forever. Not everyone was pleased. Among them was Daniel Marks, a local businessman whose family owned a competing bookstore. As Sharon painted, whispers of suspicion filled the air, and a dark thought flickered in her mind. What if Daniel was involved? Days passed, and the investigation into Heather's murder intensified. The police swarmed the town, interviewing neighbors and friends. Sharon watched as Daniel maintained his innocence. Yet something about his demeanor felt off. He seemed too calm, too collected. As the pressure mounted, Sharon's artistic mind concocted a plan. She remembered the night of the murder vividly. A few hours before Heather was killed, Sharon had been at the local cafe, but the timeline was fuzzy. With a quick glance at her phone, she realized she had a gap. Enough time to frame Daniel. Sharon decided to manipulate the evidence. She had recently taken a photograph of Daniel and Heather arguing outside the library. The tension was palpable. It would make a perfect piece of incriminating evidence. She edited the image, enhancing their expressions to emphasize hostility, then printed it out. This could be her chance to shift the blame. As the investigation deepened, Sharon strategically leaked the altered photograph to a local journalist. The story spread like wildfire, painting Daniel as the prime suspect. As more rumors circulated, Sharon reveled in the chaos she had sown. The town, once a haven, became a battleground of accusations and suspicion. Daniel's world began to unravel. Friends distanced themselves, and his bookstore suffered. The weight of the town's collective doubt crushed him, and Sharon felt a twisted sense of satisfaction. But the shadows of her deception grew heavier, creeping into her thoughts at night. One evening, Daniel approached Sharon in her studio, desperation etched on his face. "You know I didn't do it, right?" he pleaded. "I loved Heather. I'd never hurt her. Sharon's heart raced, torn between guilt and her newfound power. You can't expect me to believe that, she replied, forcing her voice steady. The evidence is clear. But you're the one who knows what really happened. You saw us argue. You have to understand that it wasn't serious. He urged, his eyes searching hers, for a glimmer of hope. In that moment, Sharon glimpsed the man she once admired, the pain in his voice haunting her conscience. But the thrill of her plan gripped her tightly, drowning out the flickering light of empathy. As the days turned into weeks, the tension in Willow Creek escalated. The townspeople began to turn against one another, allies became adversaries, and trust evaporated like morning mist. Sharon found herself isolated, consumed by her secret. Every brushstroke felt heavier, each painting a reminder of her betrayal. Amid the turmoil, a breakthrough in the investigation emerged. The police received a tip that led them to discover evidence of Heather's true killer, a jealous colleague who had been threatened by Heather's plans for the library. The town breathed a collective sigh of relief as the truth unfolded. But for Sharon, the weight of her deceit was still a burden. With the real murderer apprehended, Daniel was exonerated. The townspeople began to rally around him, their suspicion dissipating like fog in the sunlight. Sharon, however, felt a different kind of fog closing in, one of regret and guilt. In the final moments of her introspection, she returned to her canvas, where the chaotic storm she had painted now seemed like a reflection of her soul. As she added the final brushstrokes, she realized that no amount of art could mask the truth of her actions. In the wake of the tragedy, Sharon sought to make amends. She approached Daniel, her heart heavy with remorse. "I'm so sorry for what I did," she confessed, tears streaming down her face. "I let my jealousy cloud my judgment, and I framed you for something you didn't do." Daniel's eyes softened, a mix of anger and understanding. "I appreciate your honesty, but trust takes time to rebuild," he replied. Sharon understood. She vowed to channel her pain into something constructive, volunteering to help the town heal and rebuild the library. It was a small step toward redemption, but it was a step she knew she had to take. As the seasons changed, so did Willow Creek. Slowly, trust was restored, and the town began to heal from the shadows of deceit. For Sharon, each day brought a new opportunity to transform her guilt into a force for good, reminding herself that even in the darkest of times, light could always find a way to shine through.